Good afternoon, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show, where we're talking everything personal development, coaching, health, and the law. I'm your host, Jay, here with co-host Janine.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Please join us on Facebook, where we can be found at the Momentum Mindset Show. And if you want to call in and be part of the show, we would love to hear from you. It's 888-565-1470. And if being on live radio is not your thing, no problem. Send us your comments and we will interact with you on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum. The Mindset Show, and welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. Happy Friday, everybody, and happy holidays. I'm your host, Jay Farrow.
And I am Janine Davis, your co-host here. Welcome to the Momentum Mindset Show. And I would like to point out that we are in a new environment. Did you notice? For those of us who are watching us on Facebook, we are at the AMP2 TV studios in Boca Raton. And hopefully this is our new home here for our Momentum Mindset Show and other projects we have in the works. So we are excited to be here, and we're not cramped. I mean, they've put us close together, like situated wise, but like this is spacious and fantastico, and I don't feel like, I don't know, I feel different. I feel free.
You know, it's like,
how do you feel, Jay?
I tell you this, like, there's been a couple of new developments in my life, and one of which was I had gotten a new piano this week.
Yes, congratulations. And you know what? You get what you want.
I do. Last year, last year, I wrote down. Okay,
basically,
I'll be honest. Because last Christmas was there's a song Last Christmas. I'm going to play it tomorrow. Last Christmas I wrote down like a whole laundry list of things that I wanted as I was sitting at the at a diner in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh my God, you were impossible last Christmas.
and I was saying
so dramatic.
I was saying to myself, you know, woe is me as I'm like
woe is you.
I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down eating like a stack of pancakes with
how bad can it be?
Wait, this is funny. With a scoop of ice cream and this whole thing, and I'm thinking about like how miserable my life is, right? And I'm writing out the things that I want. So
for those of you who can't see me on Facebook, I would just like to say that my eyes are rolling into the back of my head.
All right.
But okay, go ahead.
All
yes.
Right. So I write down all these things that I want for this year, you know, and I wrote down business-wise, relationship-wise, like the whole thing, because I'm sitting there saying like that this will never, ever, ever happen again, where I'm, you know, like alone on Christmas. I'm like, I don't want to go to my family's house. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. So one of the things that I put down on this want list is a 7-foot grand piano, right? So I didn't get to 7 foot. I got a 6'1", which is 6 plus 1 is 7. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and I sat down. So here's this is like the win of the week. I mean, I sat down to play this piano a couple nights ago, and I didn't stop for like 3 hours. I actually got up, I got dressed to go to the gym, and then I just sat back down, and I couldn't stop playing. The music was just coming out of me. What I realized was, this is one of the first times in a very long time that I just had like 3 hours of space where I knew that I could just jam out. The neighbors, you know, aren't going to hear me. I was just going to just let go.
Right. You had total freedom
and that
to just be in the music.
Right. And that felt good.
Sounds awesome.
I mean, and from a point of freedom and creation, and I was playing at a level that I didn't know that I could play at.
Wow,
I mean, I was playing songs. I was writing songs as I was playing them. I was going from Les Mis to Elton John to jazz, blues, and everything in between.
Wow, that's so cool.
And I was just having like the time of my life, and I felt that childlike wonder for this time of year.
Wow, that's so awesome. Because it is a very magical season. If we allow ourselves to be in that space, it really is such a beautiful season. It's so magical. I've felt it a little bit myself, actually.
Yeah.
And, Yeah, I have on some occasions when I allow myself to get out of panic and stress. I have felt
So welcome
it.
to the show that we're talking. We're two entrepreneurs going after life and
yeah.
looking to create the life that we want, starting with the life that we have in front of us. And I have to say, this last year has been remarkable. And this being like one of the, this is the second last show of the year. I will say this. This is the 1 year anniversary of our first show. I mean, actually tomorrow is. The first time that we got invited to do Tell Us Your, I think it was Tell Us Your Biz.
Yeah.
And we got an invitation.
Jay has an excellent memory.
And we're sitting here with
like
our producers. It has been 1 full year.
Thank you, Don and Freddie, for all of the support and everybody involved here. Really, thank you so much. It's been a heck of a year, and you guys have been with us through a lots of ups and downs.
And for all of our listeners who have listened to us and have been following our journey, it has been a year of ups and downs, and we don't find ourselves anywhere near the human beings that we were when we started this year. And I remember it was almost like yesterday. Felt like now it feels like yesterday. We were talking about the New Year's resolutions because that was like one of our first shows.
Yeah, sure.
And we were getting into like, what are we looking to create this year, and through the ups and downs and through everything else, we continued to do the work. And I have to say that just your saying of keep going, it really is. In those 2 words, it's really the thing that has gotten me through a number of days where, being an entrepreneur, not knowing where the next dollar is coming from, not knowing where the next client's coming from, not knowing. Finally, I think after a while, that fear goes away. It's still there because you don't see the things that are showing up.
Yeah, you don't see, but it requires an enormous amount of faith. And that's where I think that I support us the most, because I call, I speak to this one, I speak to that one, and I love doing that. But when push comes to shove, I'm the faith factor. I know that it's all happening, and I know that it looks really messy. It can look really messy, but it doesn't mean that a million angels aren't orchestrating on our behalf right now.
And we have people literally praying for us. All over the world.
Yeah, literally.
It's
true. So, feeling very thankful for that.
Lately, we have experienced. We took a seminar a few weeks ago, and it went through something called Psyche, which is a method of reprogramming your subconscious mind.
Yes.
Because all of this work, as we go through it, being an entrepreneur. And I'm considering myself a Renaissance man. That's my new thing that's coming up for me.
I like it.
Requires us.
It's self-proclaimed,
right.
And it's true. You have a lot of attributes of the Renaissance.
It requires us to get rid of the stories that we all told ourselves as we were growing up, as it relates to money, relationship, and a career. I mean, all of the things in the stories. There's not enough money. There's not enough this. There's not enough that.
Yeah. So we have a collective lack consciousness. And in addition to a collective...
Say that again, because I don't want to... This is important.
It's a collective lack consciousness that there is not enough to go around.
But collectively, the whole consciousness is that there's not enough.
Right.
Lack, okay.
And we also have a consciousness that tells us that everything must be difficult. I was on the phone with a coaching client today who was talking about that very thing. She's an extremely creative person. She's in a very creative space. And she confessed that she feels a little bit of guilt when things are working out for her, as if she still needs to be suffering and toiling, and then and only then will she deserve what she gets. And we were talking about how it's a collective consciousness.
To suffer before you get it.
To suffer, which is why actually in that conversation we were talking about uber successful people will hang out with uber successful people because they're already thinking in a different way and they don't have time to feel guilty about their success because they're creating. So it's a really sort of interesting place to be.
And
but it's a collective conversation.
This program basically focuses on reprogramming the stories of your subconscious mind, which I find where the work is right now. Sure. Because I mean, there is nothing out there blocking myself or us from the things that we want other than me. That's what it comes down to. So
no, I also agree that it's you.
How do I get Jay out of the equation?
Right.
to allow myself to become successful.
I get it.
And that
Same
takes
here.
it's a pill to swallow as well, because thinking that because coming from the space of I can control it, I can make it happen.
Yeah.
It's all up to me.
Yeah.
Well, that's the good news and the bad news.
I always say that the good news is that it's up to you. The bad news is that it's up to you. You know.
So this is
So
one of the things that's coming into our space. Next week we have a guest, Michael DeSanti.
So excited. Michael DeSanti is a trainer, coach, personal development, amazingness.
Right. And and we're looking forward to that. I saw him last weekend as my girlfriend was graduating from a personal development seminar, and he's just one of those guys that is in the work, living it, and walking the walk, and it's going to be a tremendous asset to our show.
Yeah.
So, and this is in
definitely.
our we have a little bit more time for our weekly check-in. This week was an interesting week, and it's an interesting story about the holidays where everybody says I don't have enough time, or I'll push it off until next year, and a lot of people are missing out a lot of business opportunities. There's still 10 days left in this year, and I was one of the people that was guilty of giving up on this year, like earlier this afternoon.
What do you mean?
I want to say giving up. I'm like, okay,
Same
well,
word.
the year's over with. I was writing somebody an email saying, well, let's circle back at the beginning of the year. And I'm looking, it's only December 20th. I mean, there's 10 days left.
There's 11 days left.
11 days left. Can you see that?
And it's true.
I had thought that, okay, you know what? This year didn't work it out where I hit the goals that I wanted to financially. And I just was like, yeah, let's start next year.
I want to
and
remind
then
you of something.
Start giving up on 19 and like, hey, I just want to wait to 2020 and then I'll get into it.
Yeah. So maybe now is a good time to sort of remind you that, we have stretched into a realm that we'd never even dreamed of within a year.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, I want to talk about that
because it's not all...
Because it's not all doom and gloom. And
Right.
so I think it's really important for us to notice that, yes, there are actual really good reasons why we haven't necessarily hit our pot of gold, because we've spent we have grown and stretched and spent an enormous amount to get to where we are, to create the law practice of our dreams. I didn't even know it was a dream of mine, but it happens to be actually. So, and you being the attorney, we have grown, our overhead has grown like to a point where I never thought it, and we still make it happen over and over and over again. And so I don't want us to ever forget that, because it's really easy to be like, well, I can't blow $300 at the Capitol Grill this weekend. But so what? You managed to pay a salary that was only a dream like a year and a half ago to someone who really deserves it, and to grow the company and to actually go after cases and manage expenses that could blow the mind.
The size of the firm has jumped up over 350%.
Yeah, there's really a way to look at it.
No, that's a great way to look at it. But most importantly, the amount of clients that we serve has increased.
Yeah. The quality of our work
the quality of our work is outstanding.
Our commitment.
The relationships we've developed.
Yeah.
And
going up against some of the best and biggest and brightest attorneys in the country. Mm-hmm. And I got to say, I don't know. I'm going to hire a small attorney. I'm not going with a brand name. I'm just saying, but
We'll talk about a little bit more about that after
maybe on our Verdict TV show we can talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
we have a lot going on.
Listen,
there are 11 days left in this year.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to do. There's actually a lot on our plate. There's a lot that went out today. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of exciting things, and I think the message is that when I hit this point today, I was like, well, I was writing this email and it hit me like, wait a second, it's not over yet. And if I'm telling them that it's over, then I'm telling myself that it's over. Exactly.
And there was a moment in the day when you were like, I knew you had that look like someone peed in my Cheerios and everyone is going to pay the price. And I'm like, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me, Right. And this is kind of like part of the exercise that you do as business partners. You see when one's going off the rails.
This is true.
And you're like, hey, come on back, man. Come on back. You got to stay with me. We got to do this together, and we've got to be aligned in our energy.
So we're going to take our first break, and we'll see you on the other side of this, and we're going to get into what's coming up for next year, what we have left for this year, And
And please, if you guys want to call in,
yep.
please call in, write into Facebook. The number is 888-565-1470. Please join us in our discussion. I would love to hear what's coming up for you, holiday plans, what's up. Did you get asked to leave your house with only 10 days notice? I mean, I don't know. What's going on with you? So we'll catch you on the other side.
Okay.
We'll catch you on the other side of the break.
We'll be
Thanks.
right back.
Farrow Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrowlawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrow Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show.
With Jay and Janine, give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. One of the last Fridays in this
The second to last
decade.
Friday.
And I want to acknowledge you for remembering the phone number of the show.
Right? I know. Talk about Christmas miracles, okay?
We've been doing this show for a year. And I think it was like 6 months till we realized that you all could call in. And then I
couldn't remember the number to
another
save my
couple of
life.
months until we realized, you have a phone number, but it is 888-565-1470. We understand
call.
we did have a caller right before the break, and
Yeah.
they just dropped off. So
Caller, please call back because
call us
we'd
back.
love to hear what you have to say about what's going on in your life. And if we can support you in any way, shape, or form, we'd love to do that. That's what we're about here at the Momentum Mindset Show.
It was a really good week. It was a really good week because we were able to do something for our staff. We were able to.
Yeah, this was a big prayer of mine. It was weighing heavily on me, and I think that I talk about this with my friends. The mindset from being an employee to being a business owner is very, very different. I remember when she was talking to me about this particular friend was saying, well, you can do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I'm going to point something out to you. I'm not an employee. And therefore, I think very differently than you. If I were an employee, I would think that way. But I have other responsibilities and other obligations, and I'm looking at a much larger spectrum. And I think of Simon Sinek, where he wrote a book that's based on the military, where leaders eat last. Which is a very different way of looking at business, particularly since, we have books that directly contradict that because it says profit first. So, I don't know. We'll decide what we're going to do. But to be able to do something for our staff is really, really important on my heart, and I know on yours too.
I find it amazing listening to some people that still work for some law firms and what they're expecting to have, and it's like, oh well, I have a couple days off here, and getting all excited about we've more or less given our staff the 2 weeks to enjoy the holidays, and of course we're all kind of working on
of course working remotely, and Jay and I will be working for sure.
But we're able to accommodate the schedules for people's families. We're able to be mindful of that, and I think that when you're creating a business, having that your staff's in best
and highest interest in mind,
life interests, and also from a place of genuine, authentic. I can't say it on the radio. I was about to drop my first S-bomb, but
no S-bombs.
I give a stuff. It's so.
Well, you really care. You care about the people who show up every day and support and help grow the business and contribute in ways that are really important to creating ultimately our vision and dream for what the law firm could look like. And for you personally as an attorney, I see how you have grown as a professional, and it's amazing. And you do that with the support of the people in the office.
You want to talk about like a transformation? Last September, I remember I had the opportunity, or I was presented the opportunity, I should say, to pick up the phone and call this one guy who's running a multinational corporation probably this guy's net worth is somewhere over $200 million, to pick up the phone and call him and explain to him like what my client's beef was, and to settle the result. And what the thought came in my head was, who am I to call him? I mean, he's this guy with this whatever corporation, basically has dinner with the president or wherever he lived. And I was like, I was saying to myself, I'm not big enough to call this guy.
Right.
And that was a year ago.
Yeah.
And now it's like, not only have I, reached out to this person, and then also the person's wife, and I mean, it's been a year of learning not just what I'm able to do, but with the confidence to continue to do it.
Absolutely.
Because it's one thing to just jump off that cliff, into that water off the first. I mean, if anybody's had that experience where you've done something really, really scary, going on a roller coaster, and you did it once, but to consistently go and check the next roller coaster out, and check the next one out, and check the next one out, because after a while, it's like you had this feeling, and the feeling is this: I've got this.
Yeah.
I've got this.
Yeah.
And no matter what shows up, it's not a catastrophe. And I can't tell you how many little wins come with that when I'm not thinking so much about myself, not doing it right. Did I get it wrong? When you come from a place of you really can't screw it up. I mean, you can't screw it up. And mistakes, we all make them.
We all make them.
But
for sure,
the confidence to really get into some heavy-handed stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have that.
We did not have that, and
we're talking about the law practice, and
yeah.
really, I think it's fair for our listeners to know. So we run a law practice that is now almost exclusively doing and prosecuting organized crime in the civil arena.
Right. So what that means is mom and pop businesses that look legit as heck, behaving like gangsters.
It's not even mom. It's not even mom and pop.
Well, no,
mom and pop can look like a
multi-million-dollar business.
Right. And so when the people inside of a business are bullying by using their power and their money, that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's and the cases really go the gamut between. We had someone call us today for like a $1,300 case, and we have cases that are over $30 million.
Yeah.
But when I find that there's this component of offering support for someone to find their voice, not just be their voice, because one of the components of the firm that we've developed is that the people that we serve have to be ready to go and tackle the hill. We're there to support them along the way, and I know sometimes it takes baby steps for them to get there, and we coach them into that space, but they're the ones that ultimately find their voice against the bully in their life.
Absolutely, because it's our time with clients is when we're doing our job right, which we take a lot of pride in doing it, it's indelible, right? It stays with them for a long time, but ultimately they go on to live a life that doesn't necessarily involve litigation, or if they're business clients, we're doing special projects for them, but they come away different. So and that's really the hope. And we work very hard. Like this week, a big portion of our week was also getting together our standard operating procedures, seeing how we run our office, really being faithful to keeping consistency with the hopes of all the time improving quality and experience.
Right, because with everything that we're doing, a lot of it's experimental. There's no cookie cutter stuff that we do. And this is like, we talk about the law firm, but this really applies to all businesses. I mean, as any entrepreneur is out there, I mean, trying something new, seeing if it works, and then debriefing the process, what worked, what didn't work, and then being courageous enough, even though something's working, to tweak it a bit. Because and we read a powerful book this year by Chris Voss. He's the FBI negotiator.
Yeah, he's
and he had
one
a
of my
statement,
heroes.
like, never be so convinced in what you want that you wouldn't be okay with settling for something better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Never be so convinced in what you want that you wouldn't be willing to settle for something better. I think that's how he put it.
Yeah.
And it basically says, like my dad used to tell me, there's always a better deal like around the corner. Just because this techniques are working, yes, use them, but be creative. Always look to level up. And really, in the last number of weeks, the way that the universe has shown up, it's not just telling us you have leveled up, but it's also telling us that wherever you were, I'm kicking you out of the nest. Literally and figuratively.
Literally and figuratively. Actually, someone who I met at the seminar that we did, I shared with her what was going on, and she said, how interesting that that event came on the heels of, working with your subconscious mind. She's like, I would assert that it's really the universe organizing itself for you, which anyway, I believe that. But the timing is curious that we started to do that work that was next level and deep.
Right.
And certain things started to shift and happen really rather quickly. And yeah.
Now imagine this. Like we all have those JEPISes, right? JEPIS?
Please say more. What is it?
GPS.
Oh, a GPS.
The
Okay.
navigation system that comes on your cell phone or in your car, the JEPIS, right? So you put your information in your JEPIS originally, and you say that you want to go from here to Cooper City, right? And so it's going to give you the directions to Cooper City. You're on your way to Cooper City, and then you're like, you know what? I think I've been there before. I don't know if I necessarily want to go back. I'm thinking about going to Utah.
Okay.
Right? Salt Lake City. Right?
Okay.
For example, like I don't know why I would be saying Utah.
Well, you know what? It actually has some. Everyone says it's gorgeous there. So yeah,
it could be a really nice place to be this time of year.
Everyone says it's absolutely beautiful.
It's possible that Utah would be a really nice place.
In fact.
Yeah, you think? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's want to go to Utah. So the JEPIS is going to tell you. All of a sudden, it's going to go. It's going to do that sound that Waze does. That. And then all of a sudden,
is that what it does? My Waze is an Englishman. His name is Simon.
Mine's not an Englishman.
Okay.
So it starts to immediately tell you, make a U-turn. Start going towards the airport. Gives you directions to the airport, and then tells you to go to the ticket counter. And so it gives you step-by-step directions to get to Utah. And as you're going there, you're like, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe I want to go to New Jersey. And then all of a sudden that will trigger a course of events. I'm speaking into what this person said to you, and it makes sense. If you're going to put something into your subconscious mind, because this is what they suggest at this seminar, and this is why it was so powerful. Your subconscious mind doesn't have emotions. It doesn't. It takes everything literally, and as soon as you give it a direction, it's going to start.
Yes.
It's going to start reprogramming your entire conscious being to get there, and that's the thing. Is that I may not understand logically the things that show up on the way there. I don't know why I'm going to be going, and then all of a sudden a train gets in the way, or it takes me down this one road where I don't know what's going on, or where I'm almost out of gas. I don't understand those circumstances, but I have faith that once I put it into the GPS system, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
So just thinking that it's possible to reprogram your subconscious mind to have a inner belief or story that things work out for me, for example, or I am confident and accept abundance with ease.
Yeah.
These are statements that literally reprogram your thought processes, and then from that space, the things that pop up and what you operate from is that. It's similar in nature to changing the CD player in your car.
Yes. Or changing the CD that is playing in your car.
So what we're doing in this practice and then what's shown up is it is rather remarkable.
It is. So again, we do get a little down on ourselves when things aren't looking
the way that we want them.
Exactly. And I get it. And I am Jay has been extremely generous with me and allows me to take care of quite a few things. And among them are the financial reports and things like that. So I really know what flows in and also what flows out rather quickly. I was begrudging a bill we got for something today. I'm like, oh my God, this is what, when your bright ideas come at the 11th hour, this is what it costs, that kind of thing. But it's amazing because I'm telling you, we started working together at the law firm 2 years ago. It wasn't even a remote possibility to be swimming in this pond back then.
So we're going to take another break, and then on the other side of the break, we're going to continue this conversation.
Yes, and please hit us up. The number is, and again, let's note the miracle, 888-565-1470. We would love to hear from you.
Be back in a minute.
on Facebook.
Let's create some momentum.
Yes.
And welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. And I'm your host again, Jay Farrow. And again, we're in a brand new, beautiful studio.
Janine.
You'd think, and by the way, we've been doing this for a year, right?
No, I'm like, wait a minute. Is he going to just say that he's the host, Jay Farrow? I'm here.
So it's interesting. It's like you see one person do one thing, you've seen them do everything. So, I mean, it really is, this is a work in progress. And it's interesting. You know what I love bringing guests on the show.
Oh, I do
because
too.
when they show up and they're very, very nervous, I remember how nervous I was the first couple of times that we did the show, realizing that this is being broadcast all around the world via Facebook and other social media means, and also here on the radio here in South Florida. And I remember how nerve-wracking it was to think that, oh my God,
I don't think about that at all.
No, you don't?
Because when I do, it makes me feel funny, but I'm just having a combo with you.
No, I'm talking to the planet.
With microphones. And, if people are listening, it's such an incredible blessing.
No, it's awesome. It's so
cool.
I still haven't figured out, though, because like, you have these little eyes on Facebook. Sometimes they go up to like 10. Sometimes it's like 14. So it's like, it reminds me that some people are paying attention. It's just an honor to be in this space and to be sharing.
Such an honor.
Just and really, more than anything else on this show, we attempt to create this safe space that, look, we're a bunch of screw-ups, and we're running a law firm basically chasing $70 some odd million now. I mean, and we can do it. I mean, we're no different than anybody else. I mean, we just thought that, you know what, all of the stories
we just have the gumption to say, yeah, we can.
You know what? Some people like all this story about, oh, you're old, you're this, you're that. It's just all of those things are absolute stories.
I so don't
you
believe
can
that.
really rewrite the script of your life tonight. And what a better opportunity than you have 2020 coming up. So I have, I'm just thinking out loud, for all of those that are listening that want to write into the Momentum Mindset Show. If you want some laser coaching, if you want some suggestions about what goes on for 2020 for you, or what's available to you, I mean, we're available. People reach out to me privately on Facebook all the time from all kinds of issues. It could be personal, it could be relationship. We'll support you in any way we can, because like I say in my Facebook, we are stronger together. I mean, this is it. The fact that I'm not alone on this journey, the fact that I have support, the fact that I have a team around me, not just at the law firm, but in my relationship and with my family. It's just like that feeling of, wow, no matter what just happened, it's possible to just turn that stuff off and then just look forward to the next thing that I have going on.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you reflect, when you allow yourself to reflect, and you can get out of your own way for a half a second, you realize that there's so many blessings in life. Like I really have been thinking about that so much. How many people I have in my life who are just lovely and who want to be there for me, or cheering for me, or praying, or I'm in flux right now, kind of deciding where I'd like to live. And I've been blessed. Like, so many people are like, hey, come live with me. Hey, come hang out with me. I'm like, really? And, but yeah, really. And it's sweet and it's kind. And I am so humbled and appreciative of that because, and I can't forget. So, there's a lot of ways to calculate abundance. And so if I allow myself, I'm abundant in an incredible amount of spaces. And again, when I look at the flow of what comes in and out of what we're doing, there's a heck of a lot of abundance there too.
I was at my dentist today. It was actually a surprise dentist visit. It wasn't really, okay, I got a call yesterday saying, you have a dentist appointment tomorrow. I said, not really. I didn't realize it was that 6 month or whatever it is. But I went, and as I was talking to my dentist, it came up as about I said something like, I'm the most important person in my life because if I can't be that to me, then how can I be anything to anybody else?
100%.
And we got into the whole conversation. It was over flossing. By the way, everybody floss, okay? Evidently, it's a thing. It's important. And if you do it, I can just floss.
Just do it. Don't question it. Don't fight it. Just do it.
There's a video, and if anybody gets this, it's called Sunscreen. If anybody can do YouTube,
by Baz Luhrmann.
By Baz Luhrmann, it's like a whole song, but it was actually a speech.
Beautiful.
But it was all about the things that will come up in your life. But
My
the most
mother
thing that you can
actually
be
introduced me to that song.
certain about is to wear sunscreen. So my dentist says floss, and she's been telling me this for whatever I can remember, 40 some odd years. So here's what I did about the floss, and I'm going to digress, but this is another biggest win of 1919. That was yesterday, but it was a big win yesterday because I did floss. But I started flossing not too long ago. But I realized I couldn't do the whole mouth because it would just be too much, and I just was doing a quarter of the mouth at a time.
Now that is a limiting belief.
Wait a second. Wait a second. This is important. All right. I used to not to go. And I didn't floss for whatever it was, like a year, because who flosses, right?
Everybody.
Okay. So I started doing a quarter mouth time, figuring like this: if I could do that, that means once every 4 days, that part of the mouth would be flossed. Okay, which would be an improvement after going say 365 days without anything getting flossed, right?
Sure.
All right. So I figured I had sonic toothbrush. So I don't need the looks, okay? I don't need the judgment, everybody. I figured I had this state of the art NASA driven toothbrush. I know how to floss. So take it easy, all right?
You know what? I love your transparency. I'm not sure that I would have admitted that on the radio. There you go.
Listen, I decided that I was important enough to floss.
So you equated it with your value.
And that's why I was sharing with my dentist. I'm like, I know that I care about myself and love myself because I just started to floss. Now, it's not every single, it is every single day, but it's only parts of my mouth. So if you do the math, basically it means that I basically floss. Get this.
I can't with this man. He's just
3 months out of the year, it gets a floss, right? So if I do, that's like the consistency of the full mouth. Just it works out. But the point is that I was able to provide evidence of how much I love myself because this is something that I never did for a while, and I was like, you know what? When I got that deep cleaning, I was like, maybe I should. You know what she said to me the last time I was there? And this all makes sense as a part of the entrepreneur, so stay with us, okay? She said, I tell people, leave the floss out in front of your table, right? And just so it sets yourself up to win the next day. I'm like, who's this? This is my dentist talking to me. My dentist used to yell at me. Now she's telling me to set myself up to win. So
the vernacular has changed.
So the vernacular has changed, but I'm saying if you were to just do this, you leave something that you're going to do in front of you.
Yep.
And you set yourself up to win.
Indeed.
Here's what it does. If anybody asks you, how would you feel about yourself? Ask yourself, how many of those little things do you have in front of you each day that you know that you should be doing, right? That you could just pick up in a second. Because at the end of the day, if I have lined up my wins, from working out to the meals that I eat, and including the floss that I've now incorporated into my life, I was like, that I could show. This is evidence that how much I care about myself, and that starts to translate into everything else. And I think that, and just hang on with me, and I'm just going to call it out. We're going to get a major win here with the law firm.
Yes, we are.
In the next few weeks.
Yep.
And it's going to be because of the flossing.
Okay. So I'm never going to tell you what to believe. You believe what you believe, and it's yours.
You're not flossing, are you?
No, I am flossing.
Are you sure?
And I would say that it has to do with, I will be extra vigilant about my flossing. I will say that, but I think a lot of it has to do with the work that we've been doing lately.
Okay.
Because it's subtle, small shifts and all kinds of different things. Either way, we believe in something. And I think that level of faith is actually something really important. And my friend in Colombia who prays a lot for us, she said that right now we're in a phase that is going to require an enormous amount of faith. And that it's like, we've still got this.
Okay.
We just can't forget to exercise that. So listen, if you want to have faith in I'm never going to begrudge you what you believe.
And I didn't share this with you yet, but I'm going to share it with you now.
Oh God.
I was able to do 2 hours of solid work in my office today. As opposed to go, okay, take it easy again, listeners. It's like, here's this guy talking this, he's so busy and stuff like that. Okay, so here's the thing. My story was I can't get work done in my office. I need to go to the library to do it. In other words, I go to a law library, I'll go to the library right down the street, or I go to a conference room in my office, and I lock myself in. Or if I go to the library, I'm in a quiet area because I feel like this sets me up to win, where I just go to a quiet area, there's no phones, there's no food, there's no distractions. I just go in to get my work done. And my story was that's the environment that I need to handle that circumstance. And today I was going through the stuff. I almost did that one turn where I was just going to start picking up on the internet and just wasting time, because I was just in my office. I was between phone calls and the like. And I was like, you know what? No, I can actually do this. And I started typing. I started getting to the complaint. I started to put it together. And really the heavy lifting is the drafting of the legal documents. So that I was able to do that today and put aside all of the squirrel distractions. Why?
That's huge.
I know what you're going to say, because I flossed. Yes, because I flossed. But it's it's more than that. It's because I believed that I could, and something has shifted. Yes. Something has shifted in my way of being.
That's
again,
awesome.
Because one of the things that I've attempted to reprogram my subconscious mind was like, look, I deserve to win. I deserve to experience abundance and joy, because the story is that I need to struggle to get there. And
yes.
So we're gonna take our last break, and we're gonna run our only commercial, which is again from our
Farrell Law Firm. And we're very happy to sponsor the program.
We're very happy to sponsor the program. And if you do want to call in, there's 15 minutes left. It's 888-565-1470. We had, we have to realize that some of our listeners went to FSU. So I'm sorry. Just kidding.
I don't even know what that means. I'm not a Florida girl.
On the other side of the break, I'm going to tell you a funny joke, but we'll be right back.
Okay.
Farrell Law Firm, standing up to corporate bullies, using innovative, aggressive, and effective strategies to resolve disputes effectively and timely. Contact us at 954-252-9818, online at farrelllawfirm.com, and on Facebook at Farrell Law Firm. We look forward to being of service to you.
You've been listening to the Momentum Mindset Show
with Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
Welcome back to the Momentum Mindset Show. And
welcome back, everybody. It's almost Christmas.
Okay, so I had a funny joke.
Oh, okay. So we'll get to Christmas, but we're going to let Jay tell his joke.
I'm going to tell it in such a way that anybody out there can use it for any circumstance, but here's the components that you have to have. In this iteration, you have to go to college, okay?
Okay.
But just play around with it, because you'll understand where I'm coming from in a second. Okay, so one of the rival schools to University of Florida and University of Miami was FSU, which is Florida State, which is up in Tallahassee.
Yep.
So the rivalry goes, where there's like the best football games, the best, stuff. What it also generates the best jokes between, the competitive colleges.
Sure.
So I said to somebody who goes to FSU, I'm like, I said, I said, I got good news and bad news. Did you hear that FSU's main library burnt down last night?
It did?
That's the bad news. You know what the good news was?
Oh, what?
They saved all 5 coloring books.
Oh, my goodness. That is so unkind for the finest students of Florida State.
But no, you you have my permission to reverse that. I mean, if you could figure it out, it could probably apply to a lot of different other things. I mean, your competitors.
Sure.
You can just play with it, and if it works, and if I start seeing this out, and I know that I had something to do with it. Just saying.
What, the dissemination of that joke?
Yeah, the dissemination of that joke.
Okay. All right. Listen, you're constantly in contribution.
I'm funny, by the way. I don't know if anybody else has realized that over the last year.
Actually, it's really true. Jay has, he can be really, really serious, and he is a generally serious person, but he can be very, very funny, and he has like a really cute, like silly side to him, and then like if something doesn't go his way, though, beware.
Yeah, I don't.
He has that somebody peed in my Cheerios and everyone's going to pay the price quality about him.
But I know it's all about justice, It's all about justice.
Is it really all about
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, guys. So, again, we are on the cusp of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
We are on the cusp of a new decade. And I think that, when I think about that in and of itself, I don't think I've ever been intentional or conscious about thinking of it other than the year 2000. That was like a really big deal.
Yeah.
But I don't remember thinking like, 2010, going into a new decade.
2020.
I didn't think.
I see what you're saying.
Back then.
I see what you're saying.
So, but now that 2020 is upon us, I'm like, I better make this thing count. I don't know how many turns around the sun I got going on. I better make this count.
I'm going to call it here. I think that the 20s are going to be like the roaring 20s. Like,
I know. You've said that before. I hope you're right.
I
want to wear a flapper outfit.
What's that?
It's the outfit of the 20s. And the jewelry of that time with the Art Deco. Oh, my God. It was a glorious time, historically, artistically.
So for the new year that's coming up, and to be intentional, we have a lot of exciting things that are coming up. I could take a minute to tell the story about the piano. Can you just talk about the power of the subconscious mind?
Oh, please, by all means. Well, yeah, and actually the power of the subconscious mind, too, the thing about, like, the moving is actually powerful, too. So go ahead, tell your piano.
So I decided that I was going to bring the piano down to Miami, which I've moved down to Coral Gables. Mm-hmm. And the conversation was, well, let's see what's possible about getting something new. I didn't even think about I hadn't read what I wrote last year yet. I just said, you know what? I was looking into abundance, a shift, something new. And I called the guy that I had bought my piano from originally, and Mark from Piano Showcase. Thank you very much. And he said, you know what? I can give you the price that you paid for your piano and come take a look at my showroom. So I was down in Miami. This was on Saturday, and I was like, all right, you know what? I want to write out exactly what I want. And I said, I want a piano that is going to be my partner in excellence, my lover of music, my partner again in composition, and an opener of doors, and the deal of the century. And I walked into the Piano Showcase, and this thing was right in front of me, and I walked right to it, and I started playing. My fingers melted into the piano.
Right.
And as I started to play, Mark was working with a woman, he does piano lessons there, and I thought they were giving a piano lesson, and they stopped, and she came over to listen to what I was doing, and she was like, I write plays.
Right.
I've written like
this
50,
is an outrageous
like
story.
Like 50 plays, and I share with her what I've done with music as well, and she put the script right in front of me, and I started to play a little bit, and she was like, I think that we can work together on this. And she's done a lot of work, some of which is been some of it's been on her shelf, and some she's done some work with.
Right.
And so this would be the second play that I'm working on music. All of a sudden, that's potentially going on
in 2019.
And right. And
I mean, that's what this year has yielded.
Everything that I asked about this piano was there, and as I played it about 2 nights ago, I mean, I felt like exactly what was going on. So it was like that whole thing about being intentional, knowing exactly what you want, and then what shows up for you when you're in that mindset, the momentum mindset, is extraordinary.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I wanted to talk about, the move that is upcoming, that I'm experiencing right now. I wanted the move. Different to you, though, and this is a lesson or something that I get to learn, is I wasn't specific. I was very general. Right. And I got general, in return. So, and listening to the book by Bruce Lipton, I think it was his wife who said, be specific because you will get what you want. So make sure that you're specific about how it comes to pass. So this is like really a learn. This also shows me to be focus on the intention, because I think that often I'm very general. I'm not as specific. And I think that that's something that you have that I get to learn, because I write down things, but in very general terms. I don't say that I want like the X, Y, Z. I say, well, I want X and it'll come to me, however it comes to me. No, I get to be more specific about that. And that's also something that I'd like to add to my practice, moving forward in terms of intentionality and living on purpose.
I want to say something about this world of transformation in my journey. And because this is, I think, the last show that we're going to have as we're just doing this without a guest, because next week, as we say, we have Michael DeSanti coming on.
Yeah.
And I will say this: in the last 3 years, I mean, think about where I came from, walking out of a hospital bed, not being expected to make it, and now I'm talking about I'm working on the music for 2 musicals that have a shot going to Broadway, where the law firm has been transformed into this beautiful space where we support clients to stand up to the bullies in their life. And it's now our filed claims and unfiled claims are approaching $80 million.
Yeah, it's bananas.
There's, I'm in a beautiful relationship. My parents and I relationship is at, a level that I could never have imagined.
Right.
I'm having a party tomorrow down south with my parents, with my girlfriend's mother and her family, and my brother and the kids. And it's like, just to think about what's shown up. You're going to show up and sing, hopefully. But I'm looking at all of this, and how about we just have a radio show for a year, Janine?
It's unbelievable.
And it's like we get down on ourselves, but sometimes it's just like looking around at this studio, which just popped up after the whole Psyche thing, and we're like, this is something is that we're looking at this, and
You're welcome, Freddie.
I'm humbled by it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I was thinking about it as I was leaving the my house this morning. I'm leaving it, and I'm in I'm driving a Mercedes. I'm doing, I'm like, is all of this real? And I keep thinking to myself, well, I said, well, it's not that good, and I'll tell you why.
Ugh.
For a few minutes.
Wait. Boo. No, and it's your programming.
Because
you're shifting out of that.
Here's what it was. It's like, yes, you have all of this, but you can't enjoy it because financially you're questioning how is this going to show up? How's this going to show up? How's this going to show up? And all of those hows is something that I'm working on.
Yeah,
because
it is
what
a
I'm
work
really
in
saying
progress.
is that what I'm really saying, if what I'm asking how is, I don't deserve it. So I have to feel bad about this. And I'll tell you, when the piano was being delivered, this is I know we're out of time, but when the piano was being delivered, it was a very tough time because I was nervous, and it was again that conversation coming up.
Yeah. So I before we go, I do want to acknowledge you because I knew you years ago when this was never even a remote possibility. Really, it was not. But it was not because, not that it wasn't possible. I've always known the extraordinariness inside of you and all of those things. I've always known that. But it wasn't possible because I knew, as you did back then, that you didn't even dare to dream about it. So this is also a testament of when you dare to dream.
What shows up.
What shows up. And for myself, I'll say, I was living a fun, kind of cushy life or whatever, but I always knew that there was next level for me. I always knew that there was something else for me. I wanted bigger expansion. I was always craving something. And I always thought that those things were for someone else. And 2 years ago, I realized, you know what? It's not for somebody else. Not at all. It's absolutely for me. And it's been arduous. It's been really challenging, but it's been beautiful. And it's really been an incredible ride. And I'm so, so thankful. And thankful for to everyone who has supported it. Some people have wanted to Baker Act me, but
So
that's all good too.
Thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you everybody.
We really
Have a
appreciate you.
wonderful
We'll see
weekend.
you next week.
You know what? Merry Christmas,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in.
Momentum Mindset Show.
With Jay and Janine. Give us a call at 888-565-1470. And now back to the show.
Thank you for listening to the Momentum Mindset Show. For your hosts, Jay and Janine, we'll see you here next week. Thank you for being real, authentic, and honest.
If you'd like to reach us, please contact us on our Facebook page, The Momentum Mindset Show, or on our office phone line, which is 954-559-6987.
We are stronger together.
And remember, keep going.
95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470. WWNN Pompano Beach is the Florida Money Talk Network.